My name's Andrew Bridgeland, Sales Manager for Astron Life. I've been with Astron for nearly 3 years and been a Sales Manager for just on 7 years. Prior to that, I was running my own business as a financial planner for 11 years. And I'm talking to you today regarding a couple of clients that were referred to me by an accountant referral partner. The clients' names are Ed and Mary, and the story today is about what happened to Ed and Mary post-implementation of their retirement plans. When I met Ed and Mary, it was probably around about March of that year, and Ed was looking to retire on the 30th of June. So what I did is I sat down with Ed and Mary and went through a typical client questionnaire and just obviously took down some information in regards to that. Through the financial planning process, what they wanted to achieve is, I guess like many retirees, they wanted to live a comfortable retirement. They'd done a lot of work up until then to put themselves in a financially secure position. What they wanted to ensure was that throughout their retirement they were maximising the pension, minimising any tax that would be payable, and basically ensuring that their investments were maintained in a safe environment. I guess that's what their main goals were. I did ask them obviously a range of questions in the interview. I asked them about their family. They had 2 children and 4 grandchildren. Asked them about their hopes and dreams in retirement beyond just living financially secure. And Ed in particular was very keen to go to England and see an ASHES test. Well, their 2 greatest concerns in retirement I guess were, well, as they said to me, and a lot of clients said to me actually, were health and not running out of money. What we did, I guess in the next 2 or 3 months, working with Ed and Mary. Mary had effectively retired at that point in time, so they had a fairly good handle on what their living expenses were going to be in retirement, and we put that at about $50,000 per year per annum that they would require, and everything was going well. And then unfortunately, about 8 months after implementation of the plans, I think it was sort of late February, early March, so it was about a year from when I first met them, I got a phone call from Mary. She sounded very distressed on the phone. I can still recall the phone call, to be honest. And she said that their son-in-law Jack had been killed in a car accident. What I did find, unfortunately, was that Jack had no personal insurances. He did have a group insurance through his employer, an industry fund, but unfortunately that wasn't even enough to pay out a quarter of their mortgage. So there was obviously a few problems associated with that. As I said, they did what any parent would do, and they stepped in financially to help Irene and their grandchildren out, and have done so ever since over the last 10 years or so. The way they helped out initially, as I said, helped with funeral costs, so some ready cash that they immediately took out of the allocated pension. They started redirecting some of their lifestyle monies, I guess, to Irene to maintain her mortgage, help maintain her lifestyle, her utilities. I guess they were going from a comfortable retirement and planning their next holiday to basically paying utilities and really not having much left after also helping Irene pay for hers. Look, the reason I'm telling the story is that whilst I've done everything I possibly could for Ed and Mary over the years, and even post being a financial advisor and now in the sales manager role, and I still see them from time to time, and they actually think I've done a fantastic job helping them through the whole situation. But I know that I could have done a whole lot more had I been aware of this type of situation and what that could do to someone's retirement plans. And so I'm telling this today so that this doesn't happen to you or to your clients. I consider it as an important part of financial planning for a retiree or even a pre-retiree as minimising the tax, maximising the pension, etc. Because the effects have been lifelong for Ed and Mary. So for advisors that I'm speaking to today, what I'd absolutely recommend to them is include family risk as part of their advice. Talk to them once they've implemented or throughout the implementation process. Talk to your clients about and pose that question. If something did happen to one of your kids or their spouse, would you step in financially? And if the answer is yes, and I guarantee it will be, then just say to them, do you mind if we spend a few minutes talking about your family? And then lead into the family discussion. It's incredibly important that you include it in your advice for existing clients that are already retiree or pre-retiree clients. Include it at your next review because it's so important. If I went back in time now, Ed and Mary would gladly pay $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a year to ensure that even some basic life insurance cover was on Jack so that the situation that played out didn't occur.